Hello there and welcome to the Best Year Ever video. My name is Dr. Mithu Raman. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a GP in South Wales. I work freelance and I run a small aesthetics business as well. And first of all, I want to welcome you and thank you very much for taking a few minutes out of your busy day. I know you have many things to do, so I honour you for being here and finding out what this is all about, because I am going to share with you today two concepts that will change how you practice forever. That's quite a bold statement, but think about this. Like yourselves, I go to conferences and courses, I go to educational meetings because I want to increase my knowledge, I want to develop, I want to grow, I want to improve my practice, be a better doctor. Now, at the end of these courses, they usually give you that piece of paper which asks you a few questions like, what were your main takeaway points? What were your learning points? What will you take away and use in your practice tomorrow that will change your practice? Remember those? Now, say over the last 12 months, how many big learning points do you think that you have picked up that have made a radical difference to how you practice medicine, that have made a significant fundamental change? I'm guessing probably not very many. Well, I've spoken to a lot of doctors on the subject of how to sustain a career in medicine for reasons which I will go into a bit later, but I have boiled it down from these conversations to two what I call mega concepts, which, if you're aware of them, if they're at the forefront of your mind, will hugely change and improve how you practice and how you sustain your career. And all it will cost you is 10 minutes of your time. Interested? Okay. So here we go. The first thing I want to do, I want you to imagine in your mind the person that you were, that young man or young woman, as a medical student. Specifically, the time when you were a student just about to qualify. So I want to picture very clearly in your mind what you looked like, what kind of clothes you wore, what kind of aftershave or perfume that you wore at that time, what your hair used to look like. Mine sadly looked a lot different than it does now. I want to picture that person very clearly in your mind, because that inner medical student is about to jump through time and land right in front of you. And they are here because they're going to sit opposite you and they are going to interview you. And what they want to know is, are you enjoying your career? Scale of 1 to 5. 5 being from the best down to 1 at the worst. What are you going to tell them? For some people, they'll be at this end of the scale. 5 out of 5. These are the guys who are like, I love my career. It's the best choice I could have ever made. I love going into work. I'm buzzed about the day. I thoroughly enjoy who I'm meeting, working with my colleagues. When I come home, I can't wait to tell everybody all about it. I'm psyched about going and doing my hobbies. I like going on holidays. I love meeting up with my friends. Everything is great. My non-medical friends, they envy the fact that I'm a doctor. I'm living the dream. That's your 5 out of 5. And there are some people like that. Some of you may well be like that. Then you get your kind of 3 or 4 out of 5 over here. For them, it's middling. It's going okay. It's long hours. There's some stress involved. I don't always get to spend as much time relaxing as I'd like to. I'd like to do more hobbies, but it's fitting it in. But it pays well. It pays the bills. I live in a nice house in a good neighbourhood. I enjoy spending some time off, going on holidays. It's okay. Then go this end of the scale. 1 or 2 out of 5. And these guys are like, I'm not enjoying this at all. I genuinely wish I had done something else. If you're asking me, am I enjoying my career? I would quite happily, if somebody offered me a job in something else tomorrow, I would jump at it. I'd stress the entire time. I'm not looking after myself. I'm tired when I'm at home. When I go on holiday, all I'm thinking about is the work I've got to do when I get back. It's absolutely everything I didn't want to be doing. Now, I don't know where you are on that scale. I don't know what your number is, but I'll tell you this: there are way too many of us who are down here, somewhere in the 1 or 2 out of 5. How did that happen? How did we get to that? Can you imagine you're telling your inner medical student this, and they will want to know, how did you get to that bit? And more importantly, what are you going to do about it? You see, when you're picturing your inner medical student, probably much in the way that I do, my medical student self, they had no illusions as to what was coming. It was going to be hard work. These were going to be long hours. In those first few months as a house officer, overnights, surviving on 5-10 minutes sleep, surviving on a few packs of crisps, a can of Coke if you get the chance. You're working through the night, then through into the next day as well. Then you can go back and then collapse, and then you start back again the day after that, doing this week after week, month after month through your rotation. Not to mention those exams that you had to do as well. We knew that was coming. Why would we put ourselves through all of that? Well, the reason we did was because of the payoff. We knew that there would be a reward to follow on from that, and that payoff was basically done into 3 categories. The prestige, which is the status of being a doctor, because there is a status of being a doctor, which I very much enjoy, and I think a lot of you do as well. The progress, because like most people, I don't want to be in a dead-end job. I don't want to be stuck somewhere doing the same thing day after day with no variety, with no chance of progression. I want to progress. I want to know that I'll be a better doctor, a better practitioner year on year. And as well as prestige and progress, the privileges. I wanted the lifestyle of being a doctor. I wanted to have a nice house. I wanted to drive the nice car. I wanted to be able to go on the nice holidays. I want to eat out at nice restaurants. This is a very, very stressful job. We're in the top 1% of educated people in the world. We expect a lifestyle to go along with that. Absolutely, why wouldn't we? And I chased after, and I got those 3 Ps. Progress, privileges, and of course the prestige. So, job done, right? I should be happy. Well, I was most certainly not enjoying my career either. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about something else entirely. I had some tickets to a concert the next day, and they asked me, "You're looking forward to tomorrow?" In a moment of rare and blunt honesty, I said no. I realised then they were talking about something else, but I couldn't get out of my mind, of course, that the genuine fact was I was not looking forward. I was really, really dreading, in fact, the next day. I didn't want to face up to the prospect that I was having to put up the same slog, the same drudgery day after day, because I was on this hamster wheel. This resonates with a lot of people, that concept of always on the go, always chasing after the goal, never quite getting there and never quite moving forwards, just being stuck basically. Some people know that a few years ago I burnt out. I mean, it got to a point where I quite happily would have gone and worked tables at KFC, which sounds funny right now, but back at the time, nothing funny about it. It was a dark place. I was physically done, I was emotionally done, mentally I was done. And it took a while to come back from that. Luckily I had a very, very good support group of family, friends, professionals who helped me come back from that. And during that time, I got to know quite a lot of other colleagues who were suffering a very similar thing. And I didn't realise until that point just how many there were in the same boat as me. I should have. But there are a great many people on that same kind of hamster wheel, always struggling. Now, having been there and done that, I don't want anybody else to. The last thing I would want, and it doesn't have to be that way. So, here's the bit that I promised. These are the 2 mega concepts that you need to know about. So get a piece of paper and write this bit down, okay? Because this bit's important. I'm going to show you the 2 learning points that come about for sustaining a long career. So here's number 1. Look after yourself first. I'm going to repeat that one. Look after yourself first. The reason I repeat it is because for a lot of people, that's a bit of an alien concept. Because I've had this discussion before. And first of all, it's the blank stare. And then it's like, what are you talking about? Look after myself? Like find time to relax, do things for myself. When have I got time to do that? There's too much work to do. I haven't got time to relax. I haven't got time to spend time on hobbies. I haven't got time to go and exercise or to eat properly. I'm too busy. Remember that phrase? Yes, I'm too busy to look after myself. Well, here's the thing. You can't do a job effectively if you're not looking after yourself. You can't do any job effectively, and you especially can't do the job of medicine effectively if you're not looking after yourself first. I'll let you digest that for a moment while we move on to concept number 2, which is looking forward to tomorrow. This is a slightly less alien concept for most people, because pretty much everyone's had a time when they enjoyed looking forward to what was coming up. But that seems a long way in the past for a lot of my colleagues. And here's the thing. You can't sustain a career if you aren't looking forward to the challenges of the next day. If you're not of a mind of, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next, I'm looking forward to the challenge. If that's not the case, then you can't sustain a career. You can endure it for a few months, maybe even a few years. But long term, through to retirement, can't be done. You know this. You already know this. This isn't exactly a surprise, but sometimes you need to be reminded about that. And can you say that you consistently do both of those things? Because if not, your chances of a long and healthy career in medicine, or indeed anything else, are going to be fairly slim. And the question is, do you really want to go one more day knowing that you have to tell your inner medical student that it wasn't worth it? It wasn't worth all that hassle. Does that seem fair on you? Or do you owe it to yourself to have a chance at your best year ever? Imagine tonight, when you go to bed, imagine if the very last thing that you do just before you go to sleep is that you think to yourself, tomorrow, above all else, I am looking forward to tomorrow. Just imagine, it might have been a long time since that's happened, but imagine if that were the case, if that was what the thought was on your mind last thing before you go to bed. Now imagine tomorrow morning when you wake up. Imagine if the first thing on your mind was, I'm going to buzz it through today because I am going to look after myself before I take care of everyone else. Just imagine if that were the case. What would that be like? What would that feel like to you? Now, and again, I've had this conversation with more than a few people, and a fair number of them think that I'm living in fantasy lands. What you're saying, it's all very nice and airy-fairy, but it can't really happen. But, okay, just say for one moment that you agreed with me, that something resonated there. And you thought, okay, well, maybe you're right. But even if I agreed with you, how can that be achieved? Well, don't worry, we will get to that. I promise you, we will get to that. Right now, it's just enough if you just believe that it's possible to do so. That's all you need to do. Just believe that it's possible. Because if you can't even get to the point where you believe that that's possible, then you may as well switch off right now. For the rest of us, I genuinely believe that we are smart enough people people who are educated, the top 1% of probably the world's population, we are smart enough to figure this out. But it will only happen if we take sustainable, positive action. Because just hoping that it'll happen, that it'll just fall into our laps, that we'll have a long and prosperous career, no, that's not going to cut it. So we can either continue along the path of 1 or 2 out of 5, or we consider the possibility of this being our best year ever. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be posting out some details next week about something I'm really, really excited about. It's going to be the webinar series of Best Year Ever. Now, I've never done anything like this before. Nobody has. But it's going to go out live on YouTube. You're going to be able to post questions to me as I'm broadcasting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down step by step the strategies that are employed by the successful, prosperous GPs on how they manage their career. And these aren't super genius GPs, and they're not necessarily multimillionaire GPs, although a couple of them are. No, these are perfectly normal, ordinary doctors who have just figured it out. And they've been kind enough to tell me as well, and I will break that down for you. I will also share with you the secret of how I came back from being burnt out and having it up to here with medicine to a point now where I am genuinely happy to be practicing medicine. Imagine if you were buzzed about your future, that you could set things up in a way that massively increased your chances of happiness in medicine and in your lifestyle. What would that be like? Now, I'll tell you what this is not going to be, okay? This is not going to be some happy, clappy, motivational seminar event. That's not what this is about. If that's your thing, there's plenty of people out there who are willing to take your money for that. And I know, I've been on a couple of them, and some of them have been fun, but that's not what this is about. What it also will not be, it's not about resilience or coping strategies. It's a bit of a buzzword at the moment in medicine that doctors should be resilient to be able to manage their careers. And I've been on a couple of those courses too. And they're fine in ways. There's some good take-home points there. But here's my problem with resilience. Resilience is based around the concept that you need to get over a certain bump, a certain resistance, a certain hurdle, so you can get back on track. And the issue I've got is that for quite a lot of doctors, the track that they're on is basically a one-way ticket to hell. Who would want to get back on the track? The answer is not coping to get back on track. The answer is choosing a different track. You see what I mean? Very, very different, very different process. It's also not going to be a rant about everything that's wrong with the NHS or wrong with general practice. Again, if that's your thing, plenty of people blogging about that and writing about that. Go for it if you like. I don't focus on what I can't control, so it won't be ranting. Well, maybe a little bit of ranting, but that's not what we're looking at is building and creating the GP career that you want. So keep an eye on your inbox, post some comments down below, please keep it clean, and do please share this with a friend or a colleague who might need this as well, because I promise you know somebody who does, even if it's not you. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. I really, really look forward to seeing you on the Best Year Ever webinar. Like I say, keep a close eye on your inbox. It'll be posted out for you in the next few days. And I look forward to seeing you.